but because of some disconnection, it has gone, I think. Okay. So if it is less than 50, I'm going to say it's fail. Okay. Whereas multiple alternatives, say for example, if you score greater than or equal to 90, I'm going to display what is 80 to 80 to 89. I'm going to say that you got A grade. 70 to 79. Okay, B grade. Okay, then 60 to 69, C grade. 50 to 59, D grade. Okay, then less than 50, else case, finally else case, less than 50, I'm going to say F grade. Okay, here you can notice multiple alternatives. So if there is only one alternative, I'm going to use just if. Okay, if some condition, if followed by some condition, if the condition is met, I'm going to execute a block of code. That's it. I'm not going for the alternative. Whereas here, if the condition is true, I'm going to execute certain block. Otherwise, if the condition is false, I'm going to execute certain block. Whereas in multiple alternatives, if the condition is true, I'm going to execute something. Then the next condition, elif. In MATLAB, it is else if. In Python, it is elif. Okay. Next condition. If the next condition is met, I'm going to do this. Another elif. Condition here. If it is met, I'm going to do, okay, something. Finally, when all these conditions are not met, then the else case. So if you notice, there are multiple alternatives here. Okay, there are multiple alternatives here. In Python, yeah, already we discussed conditional operators, logical operators. So all those things we are going to use here. Here you need to use the conditional operators inside that. Okay. Let me go for spider screen. See, first we'll just work out the selection logic. Okay, single criteria. Say for example, a comma b is equal to 100 comma 50. So a is 100, b is 50. If a greater than b, okay, if a greater than b, in Python you need to terminate this with colon. That's very important. If you don't use colon, then it will show syntax error. After the condition, you need to use colon. Hit enter. Automatically you can notice, instead of the tab starting, okay, exactly in the position of I, it is starting somewhere here. This is actually called indentation. Okay, in C language, if you see, just to represent a block of code, you will use braces, open brace, close brace. In MATLAB, if you use if, then you have to go for end. If you are using for loop, then you have to go for the corresponding end. In Python, that no need of representing that end for end for. Okay, instead of that, you can use indentation. You can follow certain indentation. Okay, so whatever lines have the same indentation, they are corresponding to one particular block. For example, if the condition is true, I am going to print A is greater than B. Okay, A is greater than B. Next line, I am also going to print a plus b, something like this. Okay, something like this. Hit enter. You just notice only one alternative. Okay, I don't want, I don't have another alternative. Okay, so no need of that else part. The condition is true, so this is executed. This is executed. Whatever available here, that is executed. Suppose the condition is false, you won't get anything. No operation. That's it. No output, no operation. Only one alternative. Another thing where most of the students make mistake is in this indentation. Suppose, say I have different indentation for the second line. First line and second line, they don't have the same indentation. You can notice I'm just getting an indentation error, unexpected indent. Okay, some indentation error. So it is very important to maintain the indentation. Okay, by default, if you are using the spider, automatically by default that indentation will come. Okay, so you have to check whether indentation is required or not. Okay, for example, can anyone say what could be the output here? I am not following indentation. Can you see? Can anyone say what is the output? Any idea? Any answer? So you can give any answer, whether it will show indentation error or it will give some output. So do not type and say the answers. So just logically think what could be the output, then you give your answers. Don't type and say your answers. How many of you say that this will give an error? Students, are you following?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How many of you say that it will give some indentation error? How many of you say that it will give some output? If you notice, A is less than B. Okay, so I said when A is less than B, it won't do because there is no other alternative, so it won't give any output. But surprisingly, if I hit enter, it is giving 150 as the result. Y means this print, it is giving the answer for A plus B. This A plus B, this print A plus B, it's not part of this if, because I'm not following indentation. Okay, so whether this condition is true or false, I will get the output, print A plus B. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Now,
sir.
now let us go for double alternative. If A greater than B, I'm going to print, okay, A. If you want, you can also print something like A minus B. Okay. Else, I'm going to print B. Okay. I'm also going to print B minus A. Okay. So any guess what could be the output? Any guess?
$50.
Only 50 or any other thing?
Print day 50.
A. Print A will print only A. A and 50. See, since this condition is true, so all these lines, they follow the indentation. These two lines follow indentation. So this is a block. So this block is executed. Okay. Suppose the condition is false. Okay, the condition is false. You just see the else part is executed. Okay, it is printing B. It is also printing B minus A. So 50 minus 100, it is minus 50. Okay. Suppose any guess? Will it work? Will it work? Yes or no? Will it work, or it will show some error?
Error, sir, error.
Error. Why error?
Print
See,
is
earlier,
not-
yeah, earlier here, when there is only one alternative, it has not displayed any error because there is no else part after if. Okay, Python understands that this is corresponding to the selection logic. This is the normal one, normal code. Okay, whereas here you started if, after that some else part is coming. So whatever is there within this if, that should be a block. Okay, if you want something to be printed, that you print at the end. Okay, if you can go like this. If you want to print A, this is irrespective of the if else. Now it will give the output. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So we will go for multiple alternative. So I'll just go here. Multiple alternatives. So I'll just take that CGPA example. Okay. Let me develop code itself. So I'm going to get input from the user, and I'm going to check whether in which alternative or in which category the input falls, the corresponding output I'm going to display. Let me write that input part. Okay, finally, let me complete this if else statements. So if, okay, marks if m greater than or equal to 90. Okay, I'm going to print yes or no. What I'll do grade equal to yes. Grade is equal to yes. Then if, okay, m greater than or is equal to 80 and m less than or is equal to 89. Okay, grade, you can notice by default that indentation is coming. Grade is equal to A. Okay, another thing, in Python, every line you have to terminate with that semicolon. Otherwise, when you execute, all those variables will be printed in command window. This that means in console here. That's not in the case of Python. Okay, so no need to terminate each line. Next alternative, elif m greater than or equal to 70 and m less than or equal to 79. See, many things you can notice. This is conditional operator. This is a conditional operator. This is another conditional operator. Between the conditional operator, you can see logical AND operator. So when both are true, then only this is true. If the condition is true, then only this block will be executed. Grade is equal to B. M greater than or equal to 60 and M less than or equal to 69. Grade is equal to C grade. Then elif M greater than or equal to 50 and M less than or equal to 59. Grade is equal to D grade. Okay. If it is less than 50, any value less than 50, else part it is F grade. Okay, it is F grade. So I am going to get input first. Okay, M is the input. I'm going to use input method to get the input from the user. Enter the marks. Okay, some statement. We know that. Okay, we know that this input method by default it has the data type string. So this M is string. So if you just execute this, it will show error because it is not falling in any of this category. Maybe it may display else part. Okay, because it's not falling in any of the category. So you need to convert this to integer. Okay, so I got the input. Okay, it checks all these conditions. Then finally, I need to some statement. The grade point corresponding to the entered marks is okay. I'm going to print grade. Okay, the grade point corresponding to the entered mark. Okay, some statement. I hope everything is correct. Let me execute. No need to save. As I said earlier, without saving also the program will run. Okay, let me execute the code. You can see it is asking for the marks. Let me enter 95. You can notice the grade point corresponding to the entered mark is S. Let me test my code by entering different inputs. Let me enter 82. See, it is displaying A grade, 78, B grade, 65, C grade, 52, D grade, 33, F grade. Yeah, the code is working finely. You can see if I just remove this int, what happens? If I give 96, I'm expecting S grade. Okay, see it is showing some error because this greater than or equal to this comparators, it will not work for string data type. Okay, so the type conversion is very important here. Is the program clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You need time to practice this program, or can I go for the next one? If you want, I will give you some 2-3 minutes so you can practice. See, there is something called ternary operator. Okay, ternary operator. Say for example, I have a code. Okay, say a comma b is equal to 100 comma 50. If a greater than b, I'm going to print a, else I'm going to print b. Okay. Okay, it's asking for previous. See, it is printing a. Let me comment this one. See, it is printing a. See, using ternary operator, okay, I can, I don't want this 4 lines. In 1 line, I can do this. So, first you write the condition if a greater than b. If the condition is true, what you are going to do, that you put it in the left hand side. Okay. If the condition is true, what you are going to do, that you just put it in the left hand side. If the condition is false, okay, that you just put it in the right hand side of this else. Just 1 line. You execute this, you can notice you are getting the same output. Okay, this is actually ternary operator. So this is useful when there is only one statement to execute. When the condition is true, you are going to execute only one statement, then you can use this shorthand if else. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now I'll just start the third one. Okay, I'll start the third logic, that is iterative. Okay, iterative flow. First we will discuss for loop, then we will discuss while loop. Okay. So both for loop and while loop, they are used for looping. That means you want to repeat some tasks for several number of times. Okay. Do you have an idea when you will use for, when you will use while? Any idea? When you will use for loop, when you will use while loop?
While loop, it will be used when, first of all, when a particular condition is satisfied.
Okay.
Only that after that, iteration will happen. But in case of for loop, first initialization should take place.
Okay. So can I correct your answer? Suppose, say, I want to repeat this for 20 times. I know it should be done for certain number of times. If that is the case, you have to prefer, you can prefer for loop. Okay, if you know how many number of times you are going to repeat, okay, if you know that number, then you can go for loop. Suppose if you are not comfortable, you are not familiar how many number of times you are going to repeat, then while loop is the best solution. Okay, while loop is the best solution. In both for loop and while loop, we are going to initialize all those things that I will discuss now. Okay, is it clear what is for loop and what is while loop? So first we'll go for the for loop. Okay. Let me define a list. Okay, let me define a list. Names, say for example, some student's name. Okay, some student's name. This is list. Okay. I just want to print. I just want to print each element of this list. I want to print each element of the list. I'm using for loop for some indexing variable. It can be anything. Some indexing variable, i.e. in is the membership operator. We know in, okay, not in, they are the membership operator. Then what is the variable name? What is the identifier name? Okay, here the identifier name is name. Then colon. This colon is very important. Again, if you miss the colon, it will show syntax error. Okay, this is some indexing variable. This is the name of the, okay, identifier, list identifier. Now again, if you hit enter, you can notice by default it follows the indentation. So indentation is very important. I'm going to print I. Okay, I'm going to print I. Okay, so what happens? First time this I that represents to this Unni. Next time it represents to Anjana. Third time it is representing Vamsi. Fourth time it is representing Amarnath. Let me check whether it is doing the same what I have expected. Let me execute. You can notice, okay, it is printing the same. Okay, for then some indexing variable, then in membership operator, then what is the identifier name? Suppose you want to do some other thing for each and every item. If you want to do something like, okay, I want to print hi, okay, then some space, okay, you can see what is happening. Okay, so hi Unni, hi Anjana, hi Vamsi. So I'm just repeating something. Loop. Alternatively, instead of defining the list separately here. Alternatively, what you can do, I can define the list here itself. You can see it is giving the same output. So first one, this is from this, and the second one, okay, line number 8 and 9. Okay. Can I continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In the previous session, I didn't tell one thing. We just discussed the default print version. There are some options in print. For example, you can print multiple names, multiple okay, multiple variables or multiple strings at a time. Say for example, print, okay, Vinod. Okay, something like this. So you can print, okay, multiple at the same time. Okay, so if you see here, I'm just using a end operator here, just adding a dot. You can notice after printing, so by default this dot is added. Otherwise, you just see I'm printing Vinod first, enter. It's better I will type here. Print Vinod. Something like this. See, by default, the next print that is not coming here, it is coming in the new line. So the default end operator is \n. You just see the difference. Okay, you just see the difference. If I give end is equal to \n, you see I'm getting the same output. Whether you define end or not, by default, okay, the end operator is \n. Okay, new line is the end operator. Suppose you just see this. I'm just leaving some space as the end operator. So if I execute this, you can notice the next print, okay, it is not starting from the new line. After we know that Babu is coming, because the end operator, I changed the default end operator. It is not the new line, it is the space. So after space, the next print is coming. Okay, this end operator I didn't discuss earlier. Similarly, another one, there is something called separator. Okay, instead of end, I'm using separator. You see the difference when I used end. After printing all these things, a dot is added. When I am using separator, you see the difference. All these prints are separated by a dot. So end operator is different, separator is different. Suppose instead of a dot, I can use plus. You can see plus, you can see star. So all these things are possible. So end operator and separator. I'm doing, I'm using a for loop for I in name, print I, comma, any guess what could be the output now? Any guess? Do not bother about wrong answer and all. Whatever comes to your mind, you can give the answer. Don't type it and check the answer.
Unni space Anjana space Vamsi space Amarnath.
Very good. Excellent. Okay, earlier, if you notice, this is the output I got. Because I just used to print I. By default, the end operator is new line. So the next print, okay, when the for loop, when it is executed next time, okay, it is printing in the new line. Whereas here, after a space, okay, after a space, the output is printed. Okay, after a space, the output is printed.
So what if we add like separation instead of end? It will work same.
The separator is different. See, separator, yeah, here you just notice the difference. I have multiple prints. I have multiple print statements. Between each print statement, I want to add a dot. I am just separating the print statements. Whereas end operator, after printing, whatever available here after printing, I want to add, okay, I want to end it with something. So you won't get the same output. Can you see the difference? So by default end operator, it is taking the default end operator, but only one print statement is there. Even though it provides a space, it's of no use here in this case.
Okay.
See, even you can use, okay, you can loop through the strings, okay, instead of name. Okay, okay, let me define a string. Just see the output. Okay, if I remove the end operator, you can understand it clearly. So every time it takes a character from the string and it is printed in the new line. So what is happening? You can loop through the string. That is also possible. So at a time, one characters you are taking from the string and you are printing it. Say for example, I want to take, okay, you are doing some encryption. You are just you want to know what is the ASCII, okay, corresponding to each character. Then what you can do, instead of I, you print order of I. order of I. You can notice for each character, for P, what is the corresponding ASCII character? For Y, what is the corresponding ASCII character? The ASCII characters are getting printed. So ORD, okay, that will actually print the ASCII character corresponding to what is that? Each that alphabets. See, looping is not only for the list and what string. It can be for a tuple. See, I have a tuple here. You can see it goes through each item of the tuple. So tuple is represented with the round brackets. Okay, if you have square bracket, that is list. If you have round brackets, that is tuple. Even it can, okay, work for the set. So if you are using curly braces, that is actually set. Okay, in the next session we will be discussing this set, list, tuple, all those things. Okay, you can use loops for all these things. Okay, so shall we continue next one? So
Yes, sir.
now we'll discuss break statement and continue statement. Break and continue. I just pasted a sample code here. You just see there is a list named fruits. Okay, I'm just running the loop. I is the indexing variable. Fruits is the name of that list. So I'm just printing I. Okay, that means it should print apple, grape, cherry, banana, pineapple. Okay, if I execute, okay, see, since I added this extra line, line number 24 and 25, it is not printing the last element, pineapple. If this 24 and 25 is not there, it will print pineapple. So what has happened? So what is happening? See, I'm just using same indentation. This print and if same indentation. It means these two are the block of this for loop. So for every I need to do these two. For every I need to do these two. So first I is apple. It is printing. Next, okay, and it is checking whether I double equal to banana. Okay, this is actually the comparator operation. So it's not equal to banana. Okay, it again comes. I goes for the next value, grape. Grape gets printed. Again, it is checking whether grape double equal to banana. That is also not correct. So third time it is printing cherry. Cherry is not equal to banana. Fourth time it is printing banana. Banana is equal to banana. The condition is true. So it is executing break. So break, what it will do, if you are inside a loop, you are executed for certain number of times. When the condition is true and if you are using break, it will automatically come out of the loop. Say 100 times you have executed, totally 1000 iterations, only 100 times you have executed. It won't bother about the remaining 900 iterations. It will automatically, when the condition is satisfied, it will come out of the loop. So since it has come out of the loop, it is not printing pineapple. Okay, it is not printing pineapple. Is it clear, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So any guess? What is the output now? What is the output now? Any idea? So don't type and check. Just think logically and give your answers.
Banana.
Only banana? Is it only banana? Okay. I'm just executing. This is the output I'm getting. Now can you tell? Now can you tell? So what is happening actually? See, earlier print is okay before the if condition. So before checking whether it is equal to banana, it is printing. That's why I got output banana also. Now first it checks, then it is printing. So apple is not equal to banana, so it is printing apple. Then it is printing grape. Then it is printing cherry. Then it is banana. Before printing itself, it is coming out of the loop. Before printing itself, it is coming out of the loop. So it is not printing banana, it is not printing pineapple. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See now, instead of this, if I use continue statement. So continue is the keyword again. So what is the basic difference between break and continue? So if you are using break, it will automatically, once the condition is met, okay, it will come out of the loop. Whereas continue, it is still in the loop, but it just skips that particular iteration. That particular iteration is skipped, okay, but it is still in the loop. So what happens? It won't print banana, but it prints pineapple. For example, let me add any other thing. Apple. Okay, I'll add orange. You just see only banana. It won't print. That particular iteration is skipped. It will print pineapple and orange. You just see. Okay. So break means it will come out of the loop. It won't bother about the remaining iterations. Whereas continue, it will just skip that particular iteration, but it is still in the loop until the loop ends. It will okay. It will be executed. So next important thing in the loop is the range function. Okay, range. So for I in range, see this range actually needs, okay, at least minimum one, but it needs, I'm just typing here, range actually needs a start index, then stop index, then update, increment or decrement. Okay, but just with stop index alone it can work. That start index and update, they are optional. Okay, let me give start index 1, stop index 10. Okay, I'm just printing 80. So what happens if I execute the code? You can notice, okay, it starts at 1. Okay, then the default increment is 1. So 1 becomes 2, then it becomes 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, surprisingly it is not printing 10. You understand that start index is inclusive whereas stop index is exclusive. Okay, start index is always inclusive and stop index is exclusive. If you want 10 also, to be printed, then use 11. Okay, if you want 10 also, you just use 11. So range method is, we will be frequently using this range method. Suppose if I don't give 1, if there is only one entry within the range function, you think that that is the mandatory input argument, that is stop index. So stop index is exclusive, so it goes up to 10. What is the default start index? You know, in MATLAB the default start index is 1, whereas in Python the default start index is 0. So from 0 to 10 it will print. Please make a note of it. The default start index is 0. If you don't specify, it will take the default value. The default start index is 0. Now you just see I'm just giving some increment 2. So any guess what could be the output now? Any guess? So anyone can give the answer.
One, 3, 5,
Okay.
7, 9.
Okay. 9. What about 11? Will it come or not?
Excluded.
Included or excluded? So always you think that stop index is exclusive. So that won't come. Okay, you need to be sure it won't come. So if I execute, you can see what you said, the same output is coming. And this increment, it's not necessarily the positive value. Say for example, I can go like this, 10. Okay, you just see I'm getting some output. This 10 is the start index, 2 is the stop index, so 2 will not come. So first 10 increment, okay, the step size is -2, so 10 minus 2 it's 8, 8 minus 2 6, 6 minus 2 4, 4 minus 2 2, 2 will not come, so 10 to 4. See, next one is while loop. Okay. See, always you understand that if you want to use a while loop, you need three things. One is initialization. Second one is condition. Third one is update. So if you don't give the update, okay, if you don't give the update, it will be an infinite loop. Okay, I'm just writing a simple code. I'm just initializing I is equal to 1. While is the keyword for while loop. While I less than, okay, or equal to 10. I less than or equal to 10. I am going to print, okay, I'm going to print VIT. Okay, I'm going to print VIT. You just I until the condition is true. Okay, until the condition is true, okay, it is going to print VAT. So I is 1, so 1 is less than 10, so it will print VAT. If I don't give update, you can notice this will be an infinite loop, because always I is 1, the condition is always true, so it will print VAT. You just see the console, see it is printing VAT, VAT, VAT. So if you want to stop here, you can notice a red color box. Just click that. Okay, you are interrupting and you are just stopping. See, now you just give the update. So I is equal to I plus 1 you can give, or I'm just using arithmetic and assignment operator together. Okay, so as expected, okay, you can see the output. So first time, second time, third time, fourth, 5, 6, up to 10 times. If you want, you can also add I, so that you can see what is happening. So 1 to 10 times it is printing VAT. Okay, so when I is equal to 10, the condition is satisfied, because 10 less than or equal to 10, it is printing VAT. I is incremented to 11. Again, it comes to the loop. Whether 11 less than or equal to 10, it is checking. It is not true, so it comes out of the loop. When the condition is not satisfied, it will come out of the loop. Okay, when the condition is not satisfied, it will come out of the loop. So can you convert this while loop to for loop? So for range, we know the starting value of I is 1. So starting value is 1. Want up to 10. So stop index should be 11. We know that update, okay, the increment is 1. Okay, if you don't give also, it will work. Okay, colon, just print E comma VIT. You see the same output. Even I can use decrement here. That is what I want to convey. See, I is 10. I'm just checking the condition whether 10 is greater than or equal to 1. Yes. So it prints VAT, the 10 comma VAT. Then I is decremented. I has become 9 now. So 9 is greater than or equal to 1. So when the condition fails, when I becomes 0, the condition fails. You just see 10 to 1, it is printing in the reverse order. Okay. So any guess what could be the output here? Any guess? What will be the output? What is the use of break actually? What is the use of break?
To come out of the loop after a particular condition.
See what happens. So I is 10. So every time it prints. Only when I becomes 5, that time it comes out. We know break. It comes out of the loop actually. It is not bothering about the remaining thing. So if I execute, you can notice initially it is 10, it is printing VAT. Then 9 VAT, 8 VAT, 6, okay, 7, 6, 5. It is printing 5 comma VAT. Then it is checking I is 5. Yes, it is 5. It is coming out of the loop. So, okay, you're getting output something like this. But if you use continue here, okay, if you use continue here, so what is happening? It is an infinite loop. Okay, I didn't use continue in the proper place. Okay. Can anyone say why it is an infinite loop? Why it is an infinite loop? Say for example, I is 5 now. So it is printing 5 comma VAT. Okay, it is printing 5 VAT. And it is checking, okay, the condition. So 5 is equal to 5. So it is continuing. So what happens? It is not going for the update part. It comes out of the that iteration. Okay, it skips the current loop. Again, it comes current iteration. Again, the I value is always 5. So it is an infinite loop. Okay, it is an infinite loop. But if I do it in some other place, if I do somewhere here, you just see it's giving some output, some meaningful output. It's not an infinite loop. It is printing, then it is decremented. Okay, since print is before this condition, so all the values are getting printed. It is not skipping anything. Okay, so this particular session we have discussed selection logic. Okay, how to use if else statements, if it is single alternative, double alternative, multiple alternatives, and what is the ternary operator. Then we started iterative flow. Okay, we discussed two different types of loops, for loop and while loop. You can loop through a list, tuple, string. Okay, we have also discussed range function. Then we discussed what is break, what is continue. Suppose if you are not familiar how many number of times you have to iterate, then you can go for while loops. Okay, in while loops again we discussed what is break statement, what is continue statement. Okay, I'm just stopping here. If you have any doubts, you can raise your doubts. So if no doubts, we'll take a break. Again at 2 o'clock we will meet. So I'll just start data structures part in session 3. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.